What's up, guys? Just wanted to talk today about shoulder impingement. So I had a bunch of people actually ask me questions about this after I posted some previous videos, so I thought I'd hop on and just talk about this a little bit. This is something I've had. Most people have probably had something similar to this, especially this day and age where we're always at a desk or on our phones or something like that. So what it is that this is your humerus, so your upper arm here, going into the socket if you were. You have a muscle that goes and attaches on the outside of that ball right there. On the top you have your acromion, so bone coming over from your scapula there. So that actually attaches right there underneath the bone, and as we raise this up or raise your arm overhead, you can get into impingement. So that's basically pinching this muscle or tendon in between the bone here and the bone up top. So in between your humerus, the ball, and your acromion, so the muscle, the bone up top, you can feel right there. So that happens almost every time you go up. It's a matter of, how much inflammation you actually have there. So a lot of times people, like I said, that are at desks a lot better, on their computers, on their cell phones, whatever, they're in this forward posture, that internal rotation, getting those scapula to tilt forward, that's gonna put more impingement on that part of the body. So what we're gonna try to do to fix this is to pull those shoulders back, improve some scapular stability. So how we're gonna do that? First, improve that mobility of your shoulders. So a lot of different ways to improve mobility. One of my favorites is what we call wall angels, or that's what I call them, 1,000 different names for them, I'm sure. Getting my feet further away from the wall. I'm pushing my low back in against the wall, keeping the elbows up here. I'm gonna try to slide these arms up while my low back is pushed back against the wall. So I'm not looking for my ribs to flare out at all. If you don't have a lot of good shoulder mobility, and I'm gonna try to get that mobility, I'm gonna get it by flaring out those ribs and arching that back. I don't want that. So keep that core tight. If this is as far back as you can go, then that's all you can do. So we're gonna work in that range and start moving your way further back and further back. So what I want is find that range that works for you, slide up, breathe out, keep those ribs down, feel it tighten the shoulder, coming back, breathe in, okay? So we're gonna go do 10 of those. That'd be good for a warm up to get some mobility of the shoulders there. That's just one mobility exercise. I like to use that one a lot, but really trying to work on that mobility. Then we're gonna work on just some posterior shoulder strength. So doing some kind of pulls, some kind of rows. I like crossover symmetries a lot. If you have access to some cable machines or some bands, you just basically are crossing over, pulling straight back to kind of get the posterior shoulder, things that are gonna help pull that shoulder back into that external rotation and kind of posteriorly tilt that shoulder blade a little bit. So also we're gonna do some overhead work. So working on that shoulder stability. I love using kettlebells for this. You can go on the back of the wrist here, locking that overhead. We're just doing carries, so we're walking for a certain period of time, making sure we have our hand on our core right here, making sure everything's tight. We're having a gap between our ear and the arm. We're not pinched or up right there. Another way to do that, bottom up carries, keeping the elbow up. That'd be a good first way to do it. And then go ahead and lock it out completely and just do walks that way too. So you can take that into other movements like lunges, overhead squats if you're a little more advanced, whatever you might do. So I like doing those a lot. Speaking of overhead squats, I'll actually use overhead squats with a doll. So just a stick going up over the head, squatting down, keeping those shoulders or those arms up above the ears, just to work on mobility and some stability as well. You can build up just again with a piece of PVC pipe, a stick, move on to a bar, start adding some weight if you want to do something like that. So I've taken people with shoulder injuries and moved them all the way up to doing snatches eventually. Obviously that takes time and takes planning. Don't just go straight into that, but definitely helps out with that shoulder stability. So lastly, landmine presses. So landmine is when you're having the barbell going down into the ground, so it's coming up on an angle. I like to do it with a split stance, but you can do your feet even too, just parallel or perpendicular to the bar. The bar's gonna come in right here on the shoulder, and all we're doing is pushing straight out. So that's gonna kind of help get that scapula to slide up over those ribs, and it's just gonna kind of strengthen everything in the shoulder there. It's a little bit safer of a way to get that pressing motion without going directly overhead if that hurts. That landmine is pushing straight out a little bit. So hopefully that helps. I know I was talking fast, and I'm sweaty a little bit. I'm in mid-workout, just had the brain going a little bit, so I thought I'd fire off some info to you guys. Hope that helps.